Episode 01. In the early months of 1862, amidst the wooded expanse of Pea Ridge, Arkansas, the 11th Texas Cavalry, a regiment of the Confederate Army, rode forth under the command of Major George Reeves. Bass Reeves, by his side, was handed a rifle, an unexpected and unsettling moment as Union soldiers ambushed them. Amidst the chaos, Bass found himself entangled in the brutal crossfire, riding alongside his master, shooting at Union soldiers as ordered. The skirmish escalated when a band of Native Americans, allied with the Confederate forces, joined the fray, adding a new layer of chaos and violence to the already tumultuous battlefield. Witnessing the grotesque sight of a Confederate soldier scalping a Union counterpart, Bass grappled with the brutality that defined the conflict. Caught amidst the chaos, a Union prisoner's words struck a chord within Bass, sowing seeds of doubt about the righteousness of the cause for which he was fighting. However, Bass remained resolute, steadfast in his belief to confront death head-on rather than betray his principles. As the battle subsided, Bass stood witness to the aftermath. General Earl Van Dorn, despite the unfavorable outcome for the Confederacy, clung to his confidence. Major Reeves, blaming Van Dorn for the lack of a supply train, confronted the general, only to be dismissed. Ordered by Van Dorn to pack up and head back, Bass reluctantly followed Major Reeves, who relentlessly reminded Bass of his enslaved status and propagated disparaging beliefs about the fate of black individuals in the afterlife. Returning to Reeves' estate, Bass encountered his beloved Jenny, only for their reunion to be harshly interrupted by Major Reeves, demanding Bass's return to servitude. Offering a tantalizing promise of freedom through a deceitful game of cards, Major Reeves's treachery sparked a physical altercation, leaving the Major unconscious. Seizing the moment, Bass reclaimed agency by taking the Major's gun and fleeing with Jenny's guidance, evading the specter of imminent execution by hanging. Struggling and weakened in the Indian Territory, Bass encountered Sarah Jumper, a woman with her own struggles, who reluctantly allowed him refuge in exchange for labor on her farm. Through their shared grief and perseverance, Bass found solace in helping Sarah and bonding with her son, Curtis, forming an unexpected but genuine familial bond. The passage of time led Bass into 1865, integrated into Sarah and Curtis's surrogate family. At the Turkey Creek trading post, a chance encounter with Union soldiers exposed the grim truth. The war had ended, and the Union emerged victorious. Yet, this newfound peace quickly shattered when Bass encountered Major Ezu Pierce, a Confederate tormentor from his past. Pierce's arrival brought chaos, resulting in a tragic turn of events as Curtis valiantly stood against Pierce, only to meet a heart-wrenching demise. Devastated by the loss of Curtis, Bass returned to Jenny, finding himself back at the Reeves estate in Grayson County, Texas. Encountering an empty slave quarters and Mrs. Rachel Reeves, Bass learned of George Reeves' absence, consumed by his pursuit to reclaim what was lost in the war. Journeying to Fort Smith, Arkansas, Bass sought out Jenny, discovering her with a child named Sally. In a poignant reunion, Bass learned that Sally was his daughter, a revelation that reshaped his world. As he embraced fatherhood and reconciled with Jenny, the tumultuous chapters of war and loss began to recede, replaced by the promise of a new beginning, tinged with sorrow yet anchored in newfound connections and hope for the future. Episode 02. 10 years had transformed Bass from a gunslinging lawman to a farmer, tending the land with his wife Jenny by his side. The farm, once fertile and promising, now lay plagued by locusts, forcing them to scorch the earth and begin anew the following year. Yet, the challenge wasn't just in rebuilding the farm. It was in finding a new path to sustain their family. The arrival of Deputy US Marshal Cheryl Lynn offered a glimmer of hope. A tragic incident involving his fellow deputy on Choctaw land necessitated Bass's assistance, given his fluency in Choctaw. Although Jude Parker sanctioned Bass's role as a posse man, Bass hesitated, mindful of his growing family. Jenny questioned his refusal, especially with a fifth child on the way. Bass felt the weight of responsibility but was reluctant to entangle himself in the dangers of law enforcement. Despite his prowess with a gun, he aimed to shield his family from harm. Yet, circumstances demanded action. Reluctantly, Bass accepted the job, setting off with Lynn. Their journey unraveled a wagon wreck, leading them into a confrontation with outlaws. Despite differing beliefs, Bass's reverence for the fallen clashed with Lynn's skepticism toward prayers. As they pursued one Charlie, their differing perspectives clashed further. Lynn's prejudices against Indians became evident, prompting Bass to challenge his bigotry. Their pursuit led them to Nita, revealing a more nuanced truth about Charlie's debts. Confronting Charlie, a firefight erupted. Bass sought to apprehend him alive, but Lynn's ruthless approach ended in a fiery tragedy. The weight of taking a life for mercy's sake weighed heavily on Bass. Back home, amidst the delivery of a piano and a livestock tragedy, tension brewed between Bass and Lynn. An altercation resulted in Bass leaving abruptly, jeopardizing their expected income. Yet, Bass's unwavering commitment to finding an alternative solution echoed his dedication to his family's well-being. Lynn's return with an unexpected offer of a marshal's badge brought a tense reconciliation. Bass, pondering the weight of justice and love, accepted the badge, marking a new chapter as Deputy US Marshal Bass Reeves, confident that justice and love would fortify his family through whatever trials lay ahead. Episode 03. In the quiet town of Fort Smith, the air carried the promise of change as Bass Reeves bid farewell to his expectant wife, Jenny. His journey led him to the courthouse, where Judge Parker acknowledged his skills and character, overlooking societal biases. Amidst his initiation as a deputy U.S. Marshal, Bass encountered a man in turmoil, claiming self-defense in a fatal altercation. Judge Parker's advice to seek legal counsel for the troubled man lingered as Bass ventured into his new role. Meanwhile, a chance encounter with the outlaw Billy Crow marked the start of Bass Reeves' pursuit of justice. Joined by Garrett Montgomery, a man tangled in debts and secrets, their hunt for the notorious gang, the Underwoods, unveiled hidden truths within the town's underbelly. Amidst Garrett's gambling debts and the gang's elusive operations, Bass sought information through cunning gambles, weaving through deceit and danger to pinpoint the gang's whereabouts. Confronting Billy Crow revealed a tangled web of conflicting interests, straining the partnership between Bass and Garrett. As the night fell, tensions rose, culminating in a fatal altercation with the gang. Bass's resolve for justice clashed with Garrett's greed, leading to a tragic loss, but not without Bass's unwavering commitment to his duty. Returning to Fort Smith, Bass ensured Billy faced accountability while discovering the stolen loot's location, a testament to Bass's relentless pursuit of truth and justice. Amidst these trials, Jenny and Sally, their resilience shining through, faced challenges and new beginnings, anchoring the home front amidst the tumultuous events. Finally back in the warmth of his home, Bass found solace in holding his newborn son, a symbol of hope amidst the turmoil, a stark contrast to the harsh realities he encountered. With Judge Parker's tempered acknowledgement of Billy's partial redemption and the bittersweet symphony of life playing out, Bass Reeves found himself rooted in the unwavering quest for justice while nurturing his growing family. Episode 04. Bass, a lawman with a stern but compassionate demeanor, finds himself entangled in a web of justice and morality. Disguised and seeking refuge in Widow Dolliver's home, he encounters familial strife, stepping in to resolve a conflict between her sons before revealing his true intent, to arrest them. With a sense of duty, he cuffs the brothers, a symbol of the line he walks between enforcing the law and understanding the human condition. Elsewhere, the Reeves family grapples with the aspiration for black prosperity amidst a church gathering. Edwin Jones advocates for property ownership, sparking a connection with Jenny Reeves. As this unfolds, Sally breaks away to meet Arthur, hinting at a separate narrative within this intricate tapestry. Back in Bass's world, the story takes a darker turn. Accompanied by his new posse man, Billy Crow, Bass faces the harsh reality of capturing outlaws, including a chilling tale of Mr. Sundown shared by a prisoner. The night grows tense as violence erupts, underscoring Bass's unwavering commitment to justice despite the grim circumstances. A new pursuit emerges when Bass encounters Minko Dodge, hinting at a personal need for respite. But the discovery of Silas Cobb, suspected of horse theft, thrusts Bass and Billy into another chase. The hunt leads them to a brothel, revealing a different side of Billy and a connection between him and one of the women. Silas's betrayal and escape test Bass's resolve. Despite striking a deal, Silas's attempted flight ends in tragedy, prompting Bass to confront Billy about the sanctity of life and the weight of their actions. A poignant moment arises when Bass delivers Silas's letter to his blind widow, Grace, offering a glimpse into the emotional depths of the lawman. As Bass resumes his journey, the revelation of being tracked adds another layer of intrigue, culminating in a tense standoff that resolves surprisingly. Through these interconnected events, Bass grapples with the intricacies of justice, morality, and the human experience, shaping a complex narrative of duty, empathy, and the blurred lines between right and wrong in the Wild West. Episode 05. In the humid dusk of a sweltering summer day, the quietude of the countryside was shattered by a chilling sight. A lifeless figure hung ominously from an aged oak tree, his body swaying lightly in the evening breeze. The haunting note pinned to his chest forewarned in stark, bold letters, "Bass Reeves will swing here." Undeterred by the ominous message, Bass Reeves, a vigilant figure cloaked in determination, stood his ground while his companion, Billy, ventured into the shadowy confines of a general store. Billy returned with crucial intel. 5 armed men lurked within, including their target, the notorious outlaw, Jim Webb. With precision and steely resolve, Bass and Billy embarked on their calculated approach, only to be met with a storm of gunfire as they closed in on their quarry. Unfazed by the chaos, Bass strode into the fray, clutching a Bible in hand, fervently reciting verses in a bid to quell the brewing violence. The tension escalated, culminating in a thunderous exchange of bullets that claimed the lives of some of Webb's cohorts. Amidst the chaos, tragedy struck as Billy suffered a grievous wound to the neck, setting off a desperate pursuit as Webb fled, with Billy doggedly chasing him down. In the aftermath, amidst the lingering haze of gun smoke, Bass imparted a sobering truth to Billy about the unforgiving nature of taking lives. With solemn resolve, Billy mercifully ended the suffering of a fatally wounded soul. Not without a hint of melancholy, Bass salvaged what he could from the fallen, liberating a chained canine while quietly mourning the harrowing necessity of his actions. The scene then shifted to a rustic homestead, where familial tensions simmered beneath the tranquil facade. Sally, headstrong and discontent, found herself begrudgingly toiling alongside her mother, Jenny, harboring resentment over her father's perceived reluctance to hire help. A clandestine rendezvous with Arthur, unbeknownst to her parents, was unearthed by Jenny, who sought to impart the value of hard work to her daughter. In the corridors of justice, Bass made his dutiful appearance before Judge Parker, reaping the promised rewards for the capture of the fugitives. Yet, his respite at home was fleeting, as the ominous summons to escort the prisoner, Jackson Cole, to Red River for trial disrupted his familial tranquility. Disappointment rippled through the household, echoing in the heartache of a daughter yearning for her father's presence and a wife weary of his perpetual absence. Accompanied by the steadfast Billy, Bass set out to retrieve Jackson, whose revelations during their journey unveiled the bitter disillusionment with history's grand proclamations of freedom. As storm clouds brewed, the trio sought refuge, engaging in conversations that delved into the haunting scars of a nation torn by conflict and the harsh realities faced by those emancipated in name alone. Meanwhile, at the carnival, Sally's joyous escapade was marred by a confrontation, revealing the unsettling undercurrents of racial tensions and the shadow of entitlement cast by privilege. Back home, an unexpected visitor stirred unease, prompting a hurried visit to the carnival, seeking assurance amid the tumult brewing in their absence. As the tempest outside raged, Bass, Billy, and Jackson sought shelter in a humble abode, yet their respite was tainted by an ominous discovery of potentially poisoned provisions. Billy's quest for magical intervention echoed against the backdrop of Bass's troubled thoughts, which lingered unresolved amidst the crackling fire and the haunting echoes of the past. In a separate tumultuous episode, Sally and Arthur found themselves embroiled in a violent altercation, battling against the fury of misguided retribution, an incident shadowed by reluctance to further escalate the situation. However, the dawn brought not respite but a chilling revelation as Bass, fulfilling his duty, encountered a familiar face among the ranger ranks, unearthing the specter of a painful past and the unsettling reunion with a figure linked to a tragedy long etched in his memory.